Welcome everybody back to another league racing video on F125. We are back in F5 racing in the streets of Monaco Grand Prix. And after having finished P4 at Cota last week, still such an unbelievable result. We are currently P8 in the driver's standings, and I did not expect to be this far up at the beginning of this season, let me tell you that. And Monaco is very tricky in F125. With the setup we're running, you're basically overloading the car with as much rotation as you can, to the point that it's almost, dare I say, impossible to drive. The car's very nervous. The car likes to wiggle on corner exit. The rear wants to step out all the time. But that's what you need. You need a car with a lot of turn in and a loose rear, and be able to tame the stallion while avoiding all the walls around you. Going at 200 to 300 kph is definitely not easy. And coming around the final two corners, activating DRS up to the start finish line, it is 1 minute 09 flat. Now, I've seen a lot of guys do very fast laps around Monaco, going as fast as 7.1, which is absolutely inhuman. I have no idea how they do it. I remember last game it was like this as well. I remember talking to this guy back in F124. He was driving an F2, Ben Marpos. He did an absolute crazy lap, taking pole by 3 or 4 tenths on the F2 grid. But we cannot give up now. Records are meant to be broken. Going on our second push lap now. Cry6 actually out of the session, dying going into the Nouvelle chicane. Monaco already claiming one victim. Now, turn 1 was quite bad. Can we take a little better this time? The exit is already much better. Scraping the wall barely on exit. Almost a 10th up coming into the casino section. Now, this is very tricky because you gotta get the car slowed down, but then bring the car as much to the left as you can to open up the right-hander, avoid the bump in the road, and stay tight to the middle. Flick to slow the car down, and through this hairpin, you kind of want to drift, but frankly, I didn't want to mess up my delta, so I didn't have the balls to do it. Coming through this double right, you gotta stop the car early to get back on the gas as soon as possible. 3 tenths up, going into the Nouvelle chicane now. And coming out of the tunnels, you want to line your car up against the wall to the right. Use the curb on the right to extend the track. Be brave, but we don't get the cut right. Not quite. 3.5 tenths up though. And a little deep into this left-hander, losing some time on exit, and through the swimming pool, a little safe once again on a corner exit. And we lost a shit little time compared to our banker, but still, we're still up on our time. The delta still going up and down, but out of the final corner, it's only going to be 2 tenths up. And that lap is only good enough for P6. And you just know that the top 3 are miles ahead up the road with their quali laps. But then Monaco just had to claim another victim.
Somebody else died again. Let's just keep dying.
And while we're at it, TOM97 also succumbs at the Nouvelle chicane. Pretty strange if you ask me. It shows even the GOAT himself cannot escape the walls of Monaco.
Yeah, third one was so shit. Holy fuck. I dropped 3 tenths in the third. Oh.
Now we only get one last set of tires because we had to pick another extra hard for the race. One final run, final opportunity to improve. Into turn 1, braking as late as possible, flick the car in, but then a little too early on the gas, and that is 2 tenths down. So we abort the lap, recharge, and then go again. Just hope that it wasn't too much tire wear on the previous lap. And with only 10 seconds on the clock, we cross the start finish line and we start over into turn 1. Beautiful this time, but we get wing damage on the left, a little too hasty on the throttle, and that's gonna give us understeer for the remainder of this lap. No matter though, this is it though. We don't get another redo, so we have to send it as hard as we can. This is the final opportunity. Still, we're only 1.5 down. A little flick into this second sector, and again through the hairpin. No drift. A little underwhelming, but remember, there's more than 2 tenths to find in the third sector there where we lost time previously, and I'm still sending it. The gap is 3 tenths currently.
Nah, I hate this.
And out of the tunnels into the Nouvelle chicane. Can we take it a little better this time? Actually, we do. Where did that come from? We gained 1.5 tenths just by being more committed, and we brush the wall on the outside. The car is just not turning anymore, and through the swimming, we get a beautiful cut, another tap on the wall, and through the last two corners, very, very tight on the inside. Can we set up this last corner briefly in the red with the delta and then back into the green again? And somehow we actually improve. But unfortunately, we didn't manage to find any more time than that. Really, really a shame.
Still improved. Yeah, it just goes to show how much time we had on the table. Oh, it could have been a top 5 start.
And in the end, we get pushed down to P9. Not really ideal. We're gonna start on the mediums and 5 lights. And away we go. We get a really, really good start compared to Takubi. But we cannot get boxed in here. The Alpine moves to the right to cover the inside. And we have to concede for now. But then I hear a big thud. And I look back and I see TOM97. Luckily, that did not give him damage, because I would have felt extremely bad for that.
Was that Tom? Fuck.
And you can see that a lot of guys are being very, very aggressive on this first lap, trying to get a few track positions, and I kind of have to just sit back and watch, because we don't really want to cause an incident here. Coming out of that hairpin, the Alpine has actually lost a piece of front wing, and now the door opens up. We're gonna slot in, but we're kind of stuck between them once again, boxed in. There's not much we can do. We can only sit back and watch as they go too wide, but the Alpine goes very, very deep, and it pushes the Kick Sauber into the wall, and that allows us to move past.
Come on, catch up to the guys in front. This guy's no wing, right?
And while the Alpine had damage, we actually managed to catch up to the train ahead. Great pace from Abdullah. But now, here's the thing. What do we do with the strategy? Do we go long, extend the stint, maybe lose track position in the process? Or do we try to go for the craziest undercut of all time? Now, Abdullah already boxes at the end of lap 2, probably to change his wing and get some clean air so he can push freely. And even though we managed to catch up to the back of the little train that actually broke off from the leading train, we're gonna go in and prioritize track position here. We don't really know whether this would work. I think this is everybody's first time racing on this track in this game with the mandatory 2-stop rule.
Double stack. All right.
As we're gonna unleashed into clean air, let's see what kind of pace we got. I actually had a really, really bad pit stop coming out of there. I forgot to release the clutch. And now there's a big gap to Giovanni in front. And I want to see whether I could catch up to him right here, right now. 7/10ths to be back inside his DRS. And then we're going to push flat out to maximize this undercut, but also to get that crucial tool in the race back in our hands. And 2 laps later, you can see that we're actually closing in on Giovanni. Whether he is managing his tires or maybe he's just lacking a little bit of pace on the hard stint, who knows? But we're closing in, and the lap after, we got DRS. And now we can sort of just chill and get pulled along. But then Tom boxes 6 laps after us. And let me tell you, that's an angry Haas car. 6-lap tire advantage is huge in F125, especially with the increased tire degradation that we got this year. Luckily though, he comes out 5 seconds behind us. And in the space of a lap or 2, he's already close on 2 seconds. It goes to show how big of an advantage you get when you're on fresher tires.
I have to overtake Abdullah here.
But now we have another problem. We have Abdullah's bot on track, and he's disconnected from the race for a brief moment, but his bot is wreaking havoc in this middle sector because we can't really overtake him, and he's going so slow through these two corners, and it's gonna allow Tom to close the gap down to null, basically. You can see that Giovanni is going side by side with Abdullah's bot, and it's gonna open the door for us into this right-hander. We get past, but at what cost? Now, Tom is less than a second behind, and this is not going to be easy to keep him back. I'm going to see now 4 10s behind, 3 10s behind now going on to the main straight, and he's basically sniffing my gearbox. I think we all had this feeling before when you got a crazy fast driver behind you, and you're just
He's got so much
struggling to hold on to the position, and I feel absolutely defenseless because he's got 6 laps worth of tire advantage over us, and he's just waiting for the moment to pounce. And I really thought in the moment that I could hold him behind. A little delusional maybe, but hey, we gotta give it a shot. And I'm already going slightly defensive into some of these corners. If I can work with Giovanni here, the real overtaking opportunity is only on the main straight, unless we make a really, really big mistake. And you can see how much grip Tom has coming out of the corners in the slow traction zones. And he's already going for it through the tunnels, but he backs out at the last second, kind of to keep us on our toes and maybe force us into a mistake. And then he goes down the inside, but then again, he backs out of it, trying to force us into a mistake. And I'm constantly looking back to see where he is. And coming through the swimming pool again, I get a really, really bad exit. And as I get ready for the next corner, we come together. And I've got front wing damage.
Really? Thank you, Tom.
Now, I wasn't very happy at the moment with this incident, and at the time, in my mind, Tom just took us out. And up until then, we were doing a really, really good job with the pace.
Fucking Tom, man.
But let's look at that again a little more closely. As we go into the swimming pool chicane, Tom is very, very close, and at this point he's barely alongside. And one might say that it is the OSD that's hiding the proximity arrows. And I didn't believe this at first, but you know what?
The race
I listened to
really
the
low.
advice some people gave me, and I went ahead and changed my OSD at the end of the race. But if you want my opinion, even if you were to look at the proximity arrows, they only become red for a brief fraction of a second before contact is made. But this doesn't mean that Tom didn't deserve room here. No, don't get me wrong. I do think he fully deserved it. I just didn't have the situational awareness, and I didn't expect him to go for it there. And in this context, it's up to the driver ahead to be more situationally aware. That being said, I'm gonna hold my hands up and say, yes, even though I didn't expect it, moving across was on me. Same thing for the turn 1 incident. Is it a proximity arrow issue, or just simply lack of situational awareness? Honestly, looking back, the curb kind of spat me out, but then again, arrow was there, just didn't really see it, unfortunately. But rest assured, the gas changes have been made. So hopefully, we'll be able to see that arrow is a little clearer now. Listen, just look at it from my perspective, okay? When you got a speed demon like TOM97 behind you, especially when it's Monaco, where you're already in survival mode, knees are weak, arms are heavy, mom's spaghetti, man. Back to the race, though. We've already used our set of mediums, and we used a fresh set of hards, and now we are on our last set of hards with more than 25 laps to go, and we're gonna jump forward 10 laps because nothing happened in these 10 laps. And on lap 25, Giovanni and Speedy have caught up to us, and again, Monaco being Monaco, it's just very, very hard to overtake, and I was kind of thinking of letting him go. And again, the arrow kind of turns red at the moment I turn in, but yeah, I think I could have left him a little bit more room than that. And at this point, the tires were just gone, and I was seriously considering just letting them through. But hey, we're here to race, so we're gonna race. And now into the tunnels, they've got a lot of battery, and he's 2/10 back, but he sends it the very last second. And again, it's just, I think, the combination of the OSD and not expecting him to send it there. Yeah, I did apologize after the race. We still spoke in the DMs. Obviously, he wasn't happy about it, but we did speak, and I told him I was very sorry. But now, on lap 26, TOM97 has rejoined the track behind us, 4 seconds behind, but he's on so much fresher tires, it's not even going to be a contest. At least 10, 11, or 12 laps, which is why by the time he catches up, I kind of just wave him by. I pull off the racing line and let him go into clean air.
Thank you, Kite. Appreciate it. I appreciate that. I consider that a gesture.
It was kind of my way to say, hey, my bad, bro. Go get him now. Go get him, Tiger. Because at this point, my race was really not with him. It was against the tires, the Pirelli tires themselves. Because going across the start finish line, a second to last time today, we're nearing 73% on the rear right. And at this point, I just thought, yeah, we're in P7. We're not really under threat from the kick behind. Just take a chill, bring it home, you know. And I'm being so careful on this last lap because I feel like any extra steering lock, my tire might just explode. And as we come up to the checkered flag, I could feel a little let down by that performance. Didn't really hook it up in quali, in the race, several incidents. I don't know. I feel like that could have gone a little better, but hey, it's racing. Some days you show up not as ready as others, and you gotta take them as they come. The bad and the worse. And after that race, we move up to P10 actually, after having finished P7.
And I stopped by Tom's stream at the end to see what he had to say about the incidents. And to be honest, he had a pretty fair analysis of the whole situation. And it shows the level of experience that Tom has, and that I could still learn, and that there are still things that I could learn from him. When you're trying to drive at the limit of your capabilities, you're bound to find the limit. And sometimes that might mean not paying enough attention and missing the front wheel that managed to sneak alongside. I'm not saying this as an excuse. What's done is done, and we can only be better for the next one. What was your take on the incidents between Tom and I, especially in turn 1 and on lap 13 into Raskas? Let me know in the comments below, because I would be curious to hear about your take. In the meantime, this is Formula Kai signing off, and I'll see you very soon. Ciao, ciao.